Hey guys, what's going on? I'm following up very quickly here with an Alpha Trades review part 2. So if you watched the video earlier, it's right here, so it's the previous video. I did Alpha ScalperX1. So when you buy this thing from Alpha Algo, I'll leave a link in the description below so you can check it out. You actually get several different indicators for the price of $39.99 a month. So you get all their indicators, which is really cool. And so what I thought was good, and it was this oscillator, really good oscillator. So I thought I'd try out the next one in line. So before we get into all of that, I just want to bring a couple of things to your attention. The first one is we are running a sale on Sidekick Traders, which is my main Discord channel, and one of the things we have in there is scalping SPX options daily. And because this is pretty relevant to the sniper algo that I'm talking about today, I thought you guys might be interested in joining. These are alerts though, but you can also use the algos like Algo Pro or this new one, Sniper Algo, that I'm talking about today. And you can check out this guy. His name's Ryan, and he basically alerts these really fast SPX scalps and teaches his options trading strategy on it. There's a 3-day trial, and you can cancel at any time. It's really cheap. We only charge $37 a month, so really low cost. Some people love this. It takes a bit of practice, but if you have the added benefit of one of these good scalping algos, like the one I'm going to talk about today, then this becomes much easier. So we've seen some really good results recently. If I quickly look into Sidekick Traders Discord, which is over here, and look at the previous channel, this is the scalps here. You can see that last week, these are the summaries of the trades. He only had one losing trade of 33% and a maximum winning trade of 416%, which is amazing. So these are basically the alerts. So we also have a whole bunch of other stuff in there, plus you get access to all my reviews as they come out. I post in the general channels here, and you can basically integrate with the community. We have a few hundred people in here, so it's pretty good. So that was the first thing I wanted to say before we get started. The second thing was, make sure you sign up for this course if you want to learn how to win 90% of your trades. This is one of the best free courses that you can find, because this will take your time out of the equation. So it's all great and fine to sit there and scalp SPX all day or scalp SPY all day, but sometimes it's best just to sit back, take on trades, and let time just decay the premium away on the options, and you can win 90, 95, even 99% of your trades basically passively. So this is the opposite of what we're going to talk about today. This teaches you the very basics on how to sell options for premium and let the time decay on the options work in your favor rather than against. And it's probably the most passive way I've ever come across to make money, especially in the market. So definitely check that out. All you have to do is put your email in here, and there's also a video here about what the course is about. Some people charge for this. I know there's another guy in the industry who does a similar course, and he's charging like $1,800 or something ridiculous for this. So I thought I'd do my own version with similar content, nothing copied or anything like that, and give it to you guys for free. So definitely check that out if you get a chance. Anyway, let's get into the main meat of today's video. So let's get rid of my Discord because we don't need that. So the indicators that I got, I showed them earlier. The oscillator was called ScalperX1. So if we go down here, this was the one I reviewed earlier, ScalperX1. That was the oscillator. Really good oscillator. So you can use it in combination with the one that I'm about to talk about today, which is this other one called the ScalperX2. And so the problem is, though, that ScalperX2 takes up 2 of your slots on the indicator system for TradingView. So in order to superimpose the oscillator, which I talked about before, on top of this, you need to have a premium TradingView account, which currently at the moment, for some reason, I don't. And maybe I'm just being cheap. But you could also have the oscillator down the bottom here for extra confirmation, and that's actually what they talk about a lot in the videos, to basically show you, like, you should only take the ones that also align with the oscillator. And since the oscillator is so good by itself, and these signals are so good by themselves, when you combine the two, you actually end up with a really good system. Probably one of the best on the shorter time frames. You guys, if you listen to the channel regularly, know that I'm a big fan of Algo Pro, but this one on the shorter time frames and the oscillator does seem to be better to me than Algo Pro. And you can even see here on SPX, since I was talking about Goldman and Sidekick Traders scalping SPX, you can see that on the 1 minute here, this is pretty solid. I mean, there's one that wouldn't really work here, but the rest of them are working really well. And usually indicators work better on the longer time frames, but most of these are working pretty well on the 1 minute. To the point where I don't even believe this is a 1 minute time frame, because normally these signals would take a lot of optimizing, like on Algo Pro, to get them to work so well in the 1 minute time frame. You can see these signals are very, very accurate. And so what you're looking at here, like I said, is the Alpha Scalper X2, which is what you get in this package from Alpha Algo. Again, just check the description below. There'll be a link to get all this stuff. So I'm testing this out for a month. Maybe I'll do it for longer. Who knows? This is looking really strong to me. There's a couple of fake outs. There's also resistance and support added here, so you can see these faint bands, hopefully. So for example, on this buy signal, it's this first candle, you'd have got this move up here, target price number 1. But because we're hitting this resistance, you might say, okay, I'm done here. That's good, a couple of minute trade, and that's exactly what happened. It reversed. Kind of a mixed signal here, but overall these signals are pretty amazing. Remember, things like this one could be filtered out by combining it with the scalper oscillator, which I bet would get rid of this. Unfortunately, I can't show you that because I don't have the premium trading view up at the moment. So this is probably the best indicator system that I've seen where you don't have to tweak anything. In fact, you can't tweak anything, right? So let me show you something that's interesting here. For you guys that have Algo Pro, normally up here you'd have some sort of settings, right, where it'd be called a multiplier or sensitivity, and you could move these indications like around by changing that. This one doesn't have it, so you're stuck with the signals as they are, but they're so good there doesn't feel like a need to actually change that. So that's quite surprising to me. So far, I'm really impressed with this indicator system. It's definitely not as cheap as, like, for lifetime or anything as Algo Pro, but on the shorter time frames for scalping, this seems really, really good. I'm really impressed. So it's very simple too. Obviously there's different indicator systems I'm going to work through in these different reviews, but you can see the menu is very simple. So we have a VWAP, which is interesting. So that's what this line here is. It's their VWAP. Not quite sure what their parameters for like exactly is, but again, you can use it as you would any VWAP, where if you have the price bouncing off of it, you can use it as support, or as resistance. You're in a sell signal here, you can use it as a resistance signal here. So with support, resistance on the lower time frames, this has just been red hot. It's pretty cool. So really, really good. As you go out onto the daily charts and things, it still performs really well, despite it seeming to be like really designed for scalping. Haven't actually looked at this yet, but it's as you would expect. It's really solid on the daily as well. So what they suggest doing, you can see, even look at this, like bouncing off the support level, is they suggest looking at the longer time frames, so something like the 4 hour. And this really is for scalpers. So they suggest looking at the 4 hour and finding what the trend is. So you'd look at, like, for example, here, today on SPX we have a downtrend, and we haven't changed yet. You'd look at the oscillator as well and see if it was in a downtrend. We have hit support here though, so that's definitely something you might want to consider. So all these things start to come into play to build your trading strategy, not just blindly following buy and sell signals, although they are really good. So they suggest taking into account things like the oscillator, things like support and resistance on the 4 hour time frame, and what signal that we're in. So we're in a sell signal, but we have bounced off support right here. We'd look at the oscillator to see what it was saying. Then you drop down and follow the trend. So if you decided that this was still in a downtrend, for example, it's easier on this one. Like, obviously we found support here and there was a buy signal. So on this, if you were looking to trade in this time frame, when was it, a month ago, then you would clearly say that we're in an uptrend. So you drop down to the 1 minute and you could scalp the 1 minute on that trend. So it's pretty simple, and it's definitely designed for scalpers. So this is something you might want to look at. They have the target profit and stop loss thing, so you can change that as usual. So you can increase the percentage, and you'll start to see these lines move. You should at least space those out. Yeah, so you can move those target profit and stops. I don't really use those usually for any of these algos. I just set my own personal profit taking and stop loss stuff. And you can turn off the things like the support and the resistance. You'll see those disappear in the background like that. So yeah, so overall I'm already really impressed with this, especially just straight out the box, it working so well. And without having to fiddle with any settings, adjust for the market. Obviously not every signal works, but one thing we can do here, I guess, is look at the 1 minute. So let's have a look here. So let's see on this cell here. So this is on the 1 minute, and that was at, let's say, 1 o'clock my time. So let's pull up the oscillator and see if at 1 o'clock we also had a cell signal. Just curious. So I have to remove this. Let's go right here, try and get it to pop up. Training view can be a bit awkward. So we're looking for this point here to see if the oscillator that I talked about in the previous video actually would give us a cell as well. And so that was called ScalperX1. Let's put this one on. Alright, so this is ScalperX1. And right about here, 1 o'clock. So for here, this wasn't as obvious on the oscillator. So you can see down here is 1 o'clock. This wasn't an obvious inflection. Like, this wasn't a solid, like, okay, we've topped out. The resistance actually came earlier. So in this case, you'd say, okay, well, we're probably starting to turn over here. And you'd have got the signal from the oscillator a bit earlier. So you'd have got it about 10 minutes earlier. So you could have started to look for position, and then you'd have had that reassurance at 1 o'clock when the cell signal for the other indicator turned on. So it's kind of cool. You can use the oscillator in conjunction with the buy sell signals. Anyway, I hope that's useful. I'm going to keep doing videos on this for the next few videos, because this is a surprisingly effective scalping tool, and you do seem to get quite a lot for your money, but in a non-complex way. Like, you can say, like Lux Algo, for example, you get a lot for your money, but it's so complicated, it's overwhelm. This, you get a lot for your money, but it's more quality over quantity, if that makes sense. So yeah, you can see here the oscillator from earlier, it's turned over and we've started to ramp up here. It's starting to fade now though, so you can see how it's kind of a good example in real time, because everybody always thinks these things are like repainting or whatever. You can see we are weakening on the oscillator. You guys remember from earlier, I talked about how the color changes as you start to weaken on the oscillator. And so this is going to be interesting to see if we have turnover here and more price movement to the downside. So let's give it a minute or so, see if we see a drop, see if we see a red switch here. Sorry, I'm flipping back to this one now because it's kind of interesting to show people more in real time what can happen. Of course, this might just thicken up again and just start back up, but since we're on a 1 minute time chart, let's just see if this continues down and we get some red appearing. So let's just let that, oh, there's the red right there. So you see how this just went red? So this would be your signal to go short, right? Like this with the oscillator. But it'll be interesting if we now flip to the other one. I know this is clunky because I've got to keep getting rid of the oscillator, but oh, it's kind of very faint there. So this might be a fake out, right? Like it might not be fully confirmed. You have to wait until the candle closes before you can kind of say like it's definitely the correct price action. So you can see how we haven't closed on that 1 minute candle yet, and we're still a bit of strength. So let's see what happens here. Starting to get strength back, so that's the importance of waiting for a close, right? So let's flip over and see what the actual indicator that I was talking about has to say. Let's see. I want to see strength because I'm long biased still in the market, so I like to see that coming in. But let's see where we're at. So right here, I'm just going to add in the indicator that I'm reviewing today, which is the X2 scalper. I'm going to add that back onto the charts just to see if it's saying anything. So it's bouncing off VWAP. We're still in a 1 minute sell signal, I think. Let's have a look. Yeah, we've been in a 1 minute sell though for quite a while, and it's been telling you to take profits all the way down. So this was the sell signal up here, and it's pretty much been telling you to take profit 1, take profit 2, potential reversal, reversal again, take profits. And now we've bounced off the VWAP again, so it'll be interesting to see. But this could just be another up and then another leg down. Anyway, hopefully that's helpful. I think this looks like a really high quality indicator for scalping on the 1 minute without having to do a lot of adjusting. And the confluence is quite simple to do with the other oscillator that I talked about in my previous video right here on the left. So hopefully that's helpful, and I'll talk to you guys soon.